the development and proliferation of more advanced military technologies by other nations. That means that we are entering an era where American dominance on the seas, in the skies, and in space can no longer be taken for granted. Second, defense spending is not expected to reach the levels projected in the 5-year budget plan submitted by the President last year. Given these realities, we must now adapt, innovate, and make difficult decisions to ensure that our military remains ready and capable, maintaining its technological edge over all potential adversaries. However, as a consequence of large budget cuts, our future force will assume additional risks in certain areas.
All right, folks, that's Chuck Hagel, our Defense Secretary. I know. Speaking just about an hour ago, announcing the slashing of the U.S. Army as far as troops and readiness. And joining us now to talk about that is our friend, General Paul E. Vallely. Hello, General.
Hello, Steve.
How are you, sir? Always good to talk to you. Okay, so your reaction to the cutting back of our troop levels in the U.S. Army to levels that are really, I guess, pre-World War II.
Yes, that's correct from the information I'm getting. Steve, could I take just 60 seconds and school everybody on how that's supposed to be done?
Absolutely.
Now, members of Congress, members of the Defense Department, and this is the way I was trained at West Point, the Army War College. What you're supposed to do, Steve, is look at the threats out there, whether it be a nuclear threat or a conventional threat or a Islamic terror threat to this country. You have to look at the threats externally and even internally. Second, once you do that threat analysis, then you have to organize the forces to meet those threats to minimize any risk to the United States and to our citizens. Now, once you develop that force of Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, Air Force, you have to determine the number of boats, number of airplanes, number of tanks that it's going to take in the organization of the force to meet those threats. The third part of it is, Steve, then you budget the organization and the structure in order to meet those threats. So they're doing it absolutely backwards is the way it's supposed to be done. That's why they can't come up with any good solution. They're going to cut and slash here. There is no strategy involved, and they don't have the proper process.
What if we, have a situation where we need a good old-fashioned, a bunch of ground troops? I mean, Ron Paul was on before. Ron, not Rand. Ron, the former congressman.
Right.
And when I said, this could affect our preparedness if we need boots on the ground in a conflict, God forbid. And he said, well, it might be a good thing that it'll take us a little longer to get the troops we need where we need them. Maybe we won't do it. Now that's kind of cockamamie. But how will this negatively affect our ability to wage or to respond to a provocation where we need ground troops?
Because they have not done the process the right way, it puts America at risk. The readiness will be lowered of all of our forces, all of our squadrons, all of our fleets, all of the Army, all of the Marines. Also, it'll affect the special operations forces that we have now to fight unconventionally throughout the world. So it's all cockamamie, Steve. They're not doing it the right way, and this has been going on for about 10 years now.
That's the first time, I was going to say, first time in the same interview within about 2 minutes that both parties have used the word cockamamie.
Yeah, well, it's crazy, naive, and stupid. Hey, listen, if I know somebody's threatening me out there, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to counter that or how I am going to take a proactive measures.
Well, that's what I don't understand, General. Explain this to me. He started off by saying, and he went into great depth about how the risks are greater, the threats are greater, and then, cut. I don't understand how you reconcile that.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't equal out. Quid pro quo. I mean, it is unbelievable, the amateurism, the naivety of these senior people in our government. And it carries over into the State Department, the CIA. We're totally broken and getting worse each day. And I hate to sound negative, Steve, but it's when you face the reality of it all, none of it makes sense.
All right, can I ask you a question? I don't want to throw you a curve here, but what do you think happened in Egypt today? Why would the military-backed government, which I thought, was rolling along pretty good, declaring the Muslim Brotherhood illegal, prosecuting the leadership after they rounded them up. They got Morsi on trial. Why did they resign?
Well, I don't know. As a matter of fact, I sent an email to Cairo this morning to my contact on in the Ministry of Defense there, trying to figure out if he could tell me why. The interim prime minister and the cabinet, as I understand, as you did, have resigned. Now, whether they're going to put in place another group of people prior to the elections, that may be the case. But General Sisi will not take over the government. They'll put some interim government in because they are dedicated with their new constitution and new elections coming up this summer. So we'll have to wait and see. I can't answer.
No, and I get nervous because, certainly, I just was hoping there would be no eventuality. I hope the Obama administration had no influence in that, no hand in that, because, they would love to see the Muslim Brotherhood brought back into the picture. But as long as the military remains in power, that's not going to happen.
No, that's exactly right. And the Ministry of Defense, General Sisi, I've met them all over there, in November, and I may go back in about 2 weeks again. We'll get a better answer for you, but for now, we'll just have to wait and see what their next move is going to be.
We'll have to wait and see what happens to Sisi.
Exactly. He's still, whether he'll run for president or stay as the head of the Ministry of Defense, we'll see.
All right, General. Always great talking to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
That's General Paul E. Vallely, Major General Paul E. Vallely, retired, of course. It's insane. I mean, when someone of his stature, says you're not crazy, Steve, because I don't see how you could reconcile the Secretary of Defense of the United States getting up and telling us how much more danger we face now than ever before, and then, hey, guess what? We're going to cut here, we're going to cut there, we're going to cut this, we're going to cut that. It doesn't fly. It doesn't make any sense. And hey. Chuck Hagel's the defense secretary. John Kerry's the Secretary of State. Barack Obama's the president. Joe Biden's the vice president. Sense? You want sense? Please. All right, folks, when we come back, our friend Jared Max will join us, sportscaster, former ESPN sportscaster, and we're going to talk about a number of issues. We had the first gay ball player in the NBA, actually in any major sport, openly gay, participating yesterday. Didn't score any points, had 5 fouls. Did pull down some rebounds. We'll talk about his performance with the Brooklyn Nets last night. NFL considering rules for, really, for the thought police and the language police. 15-yard penalty if you say a bad word on the field. Ooh. Major League Baseball outlawing home plate collisions. And, of course, the first openly gay college football player at the NFL Combine made some interesting comments. We have that for you. All straight ahead on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.